How's it going, everybody? It's your boy McWhoopin, and today we are back with yet another episode of Cities Skylines and another episode in Suburbia. So today we are going to do the road network and everything inside of here, but we're going to all base it off of central location, which is something I normally don't ever do. So again, this is, like, for me, this is going to be a lot of new territory that I normally don't do when I play the game, so I'm kind of experimenting as I go along, but I'm going to actually build a central location for, like, where the focal point of the entire community, which is going to be a giant mall, which kind of based off of kind of like West Edmonton Mall, or Mall of America, like it's a super giant mall. And unfortunately, don't have any of those as actual assets, so I'm going to have to build my own. I'm actually going to be melding up a few different malls that they have in the game for download off the workshop. Now, I did do a early fit of it, and it actually turned out really nice, just to kind of see if the concept would actually work. It did. However, I'm actually changing things up because I actually added I've actually downloaded a couple more assets, stuff like that, trying to make things look a little bit nicer. So I don't know how this fit's going to go this time around, but we will see. And so without further ado, we will start getting that time lapse going to speed things through and build up the mall. And then after that, probably build up some of the roads to kind of get the community going. And we'll see how far we can get before the end of the episode. Okay, so first things first, what I'm doing is grabbing medium road here just to get myself my starting point so I know where to put everything. And with this building, it is like comes in 3 pieces for just the mall itself, but then there's a couple of extra add-on pieces for the mall. It's a hotel and I want to say office building. So I didn't use those on my initial build, but when I initially filled in all the pieces. But in this version, I actually downloaded those extra 2 assets. So my fitting turned out to be a little bit different, but I still think it works. It works just as well. I had to actually improvise a bit of it on the fly. So with fitting itself specifically, you have to find out exactly the amount of spaces between there, which is 10 spaces, so you can actually fit the other building on the side here, because it comes in multiple pieces. So this piece here fits exactly, so it looks like a complete mall, which looks really nice and all. Getting the hotel and the tower in there, with all of it together, so it looks really, really nice. It just when you want to expand it out to actually make it into something more, and using additional assets and using the movement mod, you kind of have to start playing things by ear a little bit. Like this one piece here is perfect and actually fits really well in there, but without anarchy, doesn't want to actually go in there. So movement mod tends to work really nicely. And on the other side, want to try to fit in something else to kind of get the parking in, but I want to actually make sure the parking butted up directly against the building, so you're kind of trying to make everything kind of fit. So here again, it technically would fit, but you have to use anarchy to put it in. So the easiest way to do it is pop it down, use move it and anarchy to kind of push it into place, and then putting it in that way. Now, I was going through and trying to debate on whether or not to kind of use all three of them or two, just the way that ended up looking. It was too much space, so I ended up having to change things around again. Tried that little mall, but that just didn't look right. So at this point here, I'm literally just trying to play with design to try to find something that'll work nicely, that'll fit in that area, which nothing really truly fits in that area, so we kind of having to fix things up as I go along here. So I just try to find something that does the job it needs to. Especially with the way some of things are actually placed. Doesn't do a great job. But looking through, I saw a few smaller assets that kind of everything played into itself. And then if you just kind of hodgepodge, merge them all together, it kind of looks like little bits and pieces kind of all added together into a giant facility. And last thing is just trying to find something to fit in that last little corner. And it's being hard to find something that actually would fit by a 4x3. Usually it's either a 5x4 or 2x4, so it's hard to get that in there, but there we go. We got the entire mall together, looking really nice and clean. And then we just delete the excess parking garage. Now bring in the road, attaching it to our arterial, so we have our collector attached to our arterial road. So that one using to collect everything from this top half is going to kind of come out from there. So then we're actually doing 12 by 18 length, so there's a decent amount of width to it, a decent amount of height. So you got larger intersections, which is what I wanted, and kind of running them out and putting a nice little grid pattern, which is something I normally never do. So having that grid pattern, I think, works really nicely. And these blocks here, just to match it up with the mall, as I'm kind of trying to make this look like the mall itself was the centerpiece is initially built here, and then everything was kind of built around it to a degree. So that was kind of my thought on that, and then running a few small little roads kind of in between to kind of finish off the side area from the main arterial road going through the Suburbia. Try to find perfect midway point for those ones, and then just keeping the parallel lines running to make it a nice, perfect, symmetrical area. And then just popping out the grid all the way out for the rest of this area. for some of these areas here that it just, they don't really have enough to actually fill in a proper grid. Kind of just make little connecting intersections kind of out of the way. And for the highway, kind of wanted to do a road on the side of the highway, except for that one, which I kind of boomered. There we go. So now properly connect the grid through like that. And then just running the road as high up as I can, kind of making a nice diagonal line going across, even filling that out, kind of making it as flat as we can, and then doing the same thing on this side. We'll be a little bit smaller. There we go, that's our grid in a nutshell. And here's where I decided to go put in little cul-de-sacs all over the place. So something to kind of do with these little end caps. I'll just change this one over to a one-way because it doesn't need to be a two-way road. Push that one back a little bit so you have the space to put the circle in. And when you're running on 2x2, the game does not want you to be able to do this, so it fights you every step of the way in trying to make a small little circle. Kind of annoying, but what can you do? Now, get this one done. That's that half done. And here's where I noticed that didn't have water. So now it's time to run our water lines all along the highway, right through the middle, so it's easy to dig up when if there's ever a repair. And then, of course, that's the reason why I'm running the water pipes all the way down the roads, right down the middle, so it makes it more realistic if they were ever going to need to do pipe repair. It'd be under the highway as opposed to under a building, which would be ridiculously bad for them. And this ends up being every other road going down, which ends up actually not being too bad in the long run, because you actually do get everything spaced out pretty well. We only have a little bit of a gap that's literally in the road, so it won't affect the water coverage. So for me, worked out really well doing it in this manner. There we go, now we got our water nicely covered. See the first group of people starting to come in and explore. Now, just kind of zoning around the giant mall as commercial. It would definitely be something that you would normally have all commercial kind of merged together, and would also help with the sound issues because the mall is going to be a very noisy spot, so you don't really want to have your residential directly beside it. So you can use a insulating layer of office spaces for people to work from, but keep the noise away from the residents. And I'll put in some major centers, so instead of doing the smaller fire halls and stuff like that, actually putting in the big stations and the big hospital and the big fire department. So we can get as many people as we can in there. And now just popping in more of the amenities. Got ourselves a school. And of course putting in a playground right beside it so kiddies have a place to play, and also make it look like it is all one spot. And readjusting my day-night cycle so I can actually see what the heck I'm doing. Always forget to do that. Now time to find me a high school that kind of works for the area. Trying to balance capacity with size as well. Want to do what I did in the hippie commune where I actually had the football stadium, the soccer field right beside it, but I thought I actually had a small little football stadium that was the exact same as well, but I guess I didn't. Here we go. So now I got the small little soccer stadium, popping that down in the middle here. So the school kids have something to play. And looking at the traffic, it's still pretty decent, you know, not much going on, everything's kind of going through nicely. But noticing that there is a bit of demand for garbage removal, and gonna need to do something, and I'm not gonna be building my industrial area for a while, so time to go with the cheap tactic of getting the zero emission garbage area. So thing works nicely because it's zero emissions, zero pollution, zero noise, and it's a garbage sorting facility, so it can sit right in the middle of your neighborhood, no problem. Now here I'm peppering some high density residential within here so I can get a little bit extra space in there, have some more people without really overtaxing the roadway. I think it's actually a nice way of getting that done. And now I actually come back here and do the little cul-de-sacs on this side. Originally I wasn't thinking of doing it, then I thought about it, then I forgot about it, then I thought about it again. It's a downside of having ADD, you know, you start doing something, then ooh, plastic bag, and you forget about it for about 20 minutes, then you come back to it. So, and now just trying to adjust these circles, which, as I said, makes things difficult when the game doesn't want you to actually be able to do this. And I forgot to actually fix this with rezoning. Because I actually do have at least I did have the zoning mod that allows me to dezone a road, which I was going to use in this area, but I forgot to actually do this when I actually had to reinstall the game and reinstall all my assets. But I forgot to actually reinstall that one, so we're gonna have to reinstall it and fix it up in a future episode. Yeah, so now that people are starting to move in a little bit more, there's still a little more space for me to be able to pepper in a little bit more high density. Actually, I don't want to do entire blocks of it because that's just a bit of overkill. And now we'll start doing a little bit of the other side here. Just kind of getting the edges of the area all completed. Yeah, filling this off, kind of making it symmetrical with all the area around the collector road being commercial. And then right up in the middle here, adding in our elder care and our death care, as well as our cemetery and our crematorium, just to make sure that we can empty out those plots whenever we need to. And just kind of let everything start filling itself in a little bit. You can see people coming in, people upgrading right off the bat. And of course, you know, the constant flashing of not enough skilled workers, which will be like that for a while. There'll be lots of flash between not enough skilled workers and not enough goods to sell. That'll be the mainstay of this area for a little while as we build it up and build it out. And so get myself a university in here, which that university will only be temporary, as we are going to build ourselves a university campus in this area. We'll have 2 in the entire region. You know, looking at the mall here, they've got lots of things going on with it right now. So we have some okay tourists visiting and stuff like that. So everything is working out kind of nicely for now. That'll keep on attracting people and bringing people in, especially as we expand this area more and more. And now we got that one half of the area pretty much filled in. We're gonna fill in the other half here, just so we're not getting too much traffic in at once. Kind of try to do this off in smaller sectors. And then, again, as we are doing, we just slowly pepper in little tiny squares of high density to make things a little more varied. in terms of the spacing, plus getting in a little extra population without doing too much damage to your traffic. Now I'm trying to make everybody happy by putting in some more parks. They're getting in a variety of them, different types all over the place. Just readjusting this one because I didn't want it to actually do didn't want it to take away any of the houses from the cul-de-sac, so that's why I have to move that around. Now that a little more time has passed, we got some more spaces kind of appearing in all the zoning areas, so we can kind of put in a few more high densities around. But that's where we're kind of going to leave it here for tonight. So we should finish this off with a nice little flyby of the town to see the progress that we have done thus far. And there we have it. So this one we're actually going to end a little bit early since we're now just kind of waiting for this area to fill itself out. So we'll finish this off for this episode. Next episode, we are going to build our park around the outside of Suburbia. So it's all going to be all along the waterfront. So we're going to have a big honking along one, kind of like we did in the on the last map, but it's just going to be just for Suburbia, just in this area, and we're going to work it out, and hopefully it'll come out a little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer looking than what the last one did. So that's something to look forward to for that episode. But Said we're leaving here for tonight. So I'd like to thank everybody for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and all that, as it definitely helps the algorithm, helps the channel. So it's always grateful for you guys to do that. And even not just watching, because we got over 50 subs now finally. Next goal is 100. Just get those slow, steady gains. And so always truly grateful for you guys coming in and watching me boomer up a town at any given point. So thanks so much for watching, and have yourselves a good night.